Please welcome back to our show a very funny guy, Marc Maron. Give him a hand.
Marc Maron's comedy is like a messy garage. You don't know what you'll find, but it's always personal. He's the guy who'll crack open his emotional toolbox, rummage through it, and pull out a joke that feels like it shouldn't be funny, but it is. His vulnerability isn't a gimmick, it's his weapon. He makes you laugh while reminding you he's a human on the brink, just like you.
I think for the first 9 years of my life, I was a fat kid. And I really believe my mother just saw me as some sort of weird extension of her fat. And I think that she thought if she could just stop eating, that maybe the kid would disappear.
Maron's relationship with coffee is legendary. It's not just fuel, it's a metaphor. Coffee is his existential crutch, his grounding force in a chaotic world. Watching him talk about it is like listening to a prophet preach about salvation through caffeine. Cats are Maron's spirit animals, aloof, neurotic, and impossible to control. His bits about his cats? They're not just jokes, they're existential inquiries into the absurdity of relationships. Before everyone had a podcast, Marc Maron had WTF. It wasn't just interviews, it was confessions, breakdowns, and breakthroughs. He turned his garage into a church of vulnerability where legends came to unburden their souls. Maron's anger is less about destruction and more about catharsis. His rants are symphonies of frustration, dissecting everything from social media to existential dread with a mix of venom and wit.
I hate people that say, I have lots of friends. You don't. You have a lot of shallow relationships with people that talk behind your back, and you call that drama a life because you're bored at your jobs.
Maron's relationship with his audience is almost confrontational. He's not here to pander. He's here to make you think, even if it's uncomfortable. Every laugh is a nervous agreement with his brutal honesty. Maron talks about relationships like they're war stories. Messy, painful, but worth revisiting for the laughs. His ability to find humor in heartbreak is unmatched. He's not just a comedian. He's a philosopher disguised as a grouch.
With that festering in the back of his head, just sort of like, what was wrong with that guy? And not thinking, he'll cut some other guy off, and the guy behind him will be like, hey, what the hell is this? And it goes to that guy. You see what I'm saying? And somehow or another, it just goes around and around like that until it all ends up in the Middle East. You see how this works?
Marc doesn't just talk about addiction, he dissects it. His jokes about his past struggles with drugs and alcohol aren't just confessions, they're survival guides. He takes the darkest parts of his life, shines a light on them, and says, here, laugh with me before it consumes us. His existential musings are delivered with the same intensity as his punchlines, blurring the line between comedy and contemplation. Maron's stand-up isn't always about punchlines, it's about the journey. His monologues can feel like he's unraveling a thread, one thought leading to another, until you're somewhere profound or hilariously absurd. Marc has a knack for finding the ridiculous in the mundane. Whether it's grappling with technology or awkward encounters at the grocery store, he spins everyday annoyances into comedy gold. For Maron, fame is a mixed bag, a little validation, a lot of absurdity. His reflections on being semi-famous are a masterclass in self-awareness and humility wrapped in sharp humor. Maron's comedy often takes aim at the absurdities of modern culture. He's like a grumpy sociologist, analyzing trends and calling out hypocrisy with a mix of anger and bemusement. Maron loves to step out of the act and talk to the audience, not at them. He breaks the fourth wall to remind you that this isn't just a performance, it's a conversation. At the heart of Maron's comedy is a simple truth: connection. Whether he's talking about his cats, his relationships, or his failures, it all comes back to being human together. That's why his comedy sticks with you. It's not just funny, it's real.
Please welcome back to our show a very funny guy, Marc Maron. Give him a hand.